Hey y'all, so I am getting ready to make this keto cheesecake with a pecan almond crust. It's on page 222 of the Southern Keto Cookbook by Natasha Newton. I've made other cheesecakes, other sugar-free cheesecakes, things like that. Keto cheesecakes taste pretty much like the real thing, so they're really good. This makes 16 servings. So to start with, we're going to make the crust, and for the crust, you need 1 cup of finely ground almond flour, 1 cup of raw pecan halves, and we're going to crush those. And you want a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar substitute. This is a 1/2 cup of allulose blend. So I'm going to go get my blender. I'm going to grind up my pecan halves. Okay, and then you're also going to need a springform pan. This is a 10-inch springform pan. The recipe says 9 or 10-inch springform pan. I got butter melting on the stove because I'm going to brush that over this to grease it. If you don't grease it, you definitely need to make sure you use parchment paper. Some people do both. They use parchment paper and grease it. I've done the parchment paper before. I just prefer it without the parchment paper. It doesn't stick if you butter the bottom good. But I'm going to butter the bottom and the sides. If you've never used a springform pan before, the purpose of these, let me push all this out of the way, is you can pull this off and you don't mess up the side of your cheesecake. So to tighten it, there's this little clip on the side. You just push it and it's all one piece. And you just unclip it and that comes off. So it's going to be like this. Everything's all one piece. Once the cheesecake's baked, you'll release this and it'll come up. And hopefully none of your cheesecake sticks to the side. But we're going to clip it together into one piece and I'm going to grease it. But this is butter. I'm just going to brush it with butter and get it good and greased. I'm going to go up the sides. Because you don't want your cheesecake sticking to the sides either. And that ought to be pretty good there. Got everything greased up. I also forgot, for the crust, you also need a 1/2 stick of butter and you want it cubed. Okay, so all I did with the pecans is I just crushed them in my Ninja. If you have a Ninja blender, you can just crush them like that. If you don't, you can just get a rolling pin and a Ziploc bag and just crush them like that. See, I still have a couple that didn't crush up good. Okay, so to make the crust, you want your pecans, you want those crushed pecans in here. Pour your flour in. Your granulated sugar substitute. My butter is kind of soft here. I've already cut it. I'm just going to kind of cube it. And this recipe doesn't call for it, but anytime I make a cheesecake crust, I always add a little cinnamon because we're partial to cinnamon. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. You do not have to add cinnamon. It is not called for in the recipe. I just like cinnamon, and so does Steve. So I always add cinnamon to my crust. Okay, you're just going to mix everything together. It should get crumbly. You can use a pastry blender if you want. Get that butter down in there good. You want everything mixed up good, and then we're going to pour it into this springform pan, and we're just going to press it down. You're just going to take your hands and you're just going to press it down in there. That's all there is to it. We're going to bake it for 12 to 15 minutes until it's brown around the edges, and that's in a 375-degree oven. Okay, there's our crust. One side got a little darker than the others. That cooked for 12 minutes. Now you want to turn the oven down to 325. You want this crust to cool completely before you put the filling in it. Alright, so I've got it turned down to 325, and I'm going to wait a few minutes, let this cool down some, and then we'll make the filling of the cheesecake. And let me show you the ingredients. You need 5 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, 4 large eggs. You're going to need 1.5 cups of confectioner style sugar, 1 cup of sour cream, 1 tablespoon of a freshly squeezed lemon, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So this is stuff I had for the crust. So anyway, we'll be back in a few minutes and we'll work on that. I'm going to do that in my KitchenAid. So I've had my cream cheese sitting out for, I don't know, an hour or so, so it's soft. Before I started the cheesecake, I took the cream cheese out of the fridge and set it on the counter. And we're going to start by mixing the cream cheese. My sister is on this keto diet with me, and she has lost a lot of weight. I think she's lost about 50 pounds. She lost a lot more than I have. I'm only down, I think I'm down 28 pounds now. But still, I mean, that's better than what I was, but she's 10 years younger than me, so her metabolism's probably a little better. Although she's had thyroid cancer. She doesn't have a thyroid, so maybe not. Anyway, she had this for her birthday. Her birthday was just last week. And my mom made this cheesecake for her birthday. Alright, so we're supposed to mix it till it's light and fluffy. I didn't use the wire whisk because I knew it would stick like this. But it's starting to get light and fluffy. We're going to scrape down the sides a little and mix it a little more. We're going to slowly start adding in the powdered sugar. It says to do it while you're still mixing, but I'm not going to do that. I want it on the bottom. I'll do about 1/2 cup at a time. And it's 1.5 cups. See, it's starting to get creamy now. Let me scrape the bowl down a little. See, it's starting to look like cream cheese frosting. This is how you make cream cheese frosting. You add some butter. You can make keto cream cheese frosting. All right, we're going to add the last 1/2 cup in there. You're going to start off slow because it's not on the bottom. Got it on medium speed. Now we're going to add an egg one at a time. And I'm going to turn it off and scrape down the bowl after each egg. We'll make sure that egg gets in there good. Now y'all see how thick this is? You imagine doing this with a hand mixer or by hand. It can be done. But if you got the tools where you don't have to, I say use them. All right, number 2. All right, let's put in the last egg. Now we're going to mix in the sour cream. This is 1 cup of sour cream. Okay, look how thick and creamy that's getting. Now it says 1 tablespoon of fresh squeezed lemon juice. This is about 2 tablespoons because I like extra lemon juice. And it says a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm just going to use what's left in this bottle. Probably about, I don't know, maybe a teaspoon and a half. And we're going to mix it some more. We are done mixing. All right, let me move my KitchenAid and all this other stuff. And we'll scoot our workbench back over to where it was. I had to come over on this side of the kitchen, so I had a plug. I've got a power strip hooked to this workbench, but I don't like plugging my KitchenAid into a power strip. I like to plug it into the main power source because it is a powerful piece of equipment for the kitchen. Okay, next step. You want to make sure this is cooled, which it has. And you want to wrap it in aluminum foil because you're going to put it in a water bath. You do not want your cheesecake getting wet or it'll get soft, fall apart. Now, I don't depend on just aluminum foil. I use an oven bag and aluminum foil, so I double. This is turkey size roasting bag. That's what I use. Now, it's going to be too big, so I'm going to cut the top of this off. Let me raise this up some so you can see what I'm doing. Kind of like if you're doing a gift wrap and you're wrapping up a gift basket. If you've ever done a gift basket, you're just going to, instead of tying it, you're going to cut that top part off. And then we're going to have aluminum foil over that. So I kind of tuck this down around like this. And then we're going to use the aluminum foil to hold it in place. Now you can do it with just aluminum foil if you want. I'm always worried it's going to get water in it, so I double wrap it like this. The way I'm extra protected. Don't have to worry about any of that water getting on my cheesecake. But you're basically just wrapping up your pan to make it waterproof. Now, unless you have a huge piece of aluminum foil, you're going to have to use 2 pieces, and that's where the water can leak through the bottom. So when you've got that oven bag, it's protecting it. And then we've got the aluminum foil holding the oven bag in place. So we got that taken care of. Now we're just going to pour the filling in. This is going to be a thick cheesecake. Now I see why it says there's 16 servings, because these pieces are going to be thick. Because this is a 10-inch springform pan. Look at that. Now you need a pan to put this in that's larger than this, because you're going to have to put water in it, and this is going to sit in the water. So, people fuss at me all the time for using cast iron for this, but the only pan I've got that's big enough to put this down in with water around it is my cast iron skillet. So that's what I use. I just re-season it after I'm done. It's not like I'm leaving water in there, and it does not rust my cast iron. It would rust it if I left it, but I don't leave it. My cast iron is well seasoned. So anyway, that's what I do. You can use a roasting pan. I don't have a roasting pan that's bigger than this, but I do have a cast iron that's bigger than this. So we're going to stick it down in my cast iron. And y'all, I'm going to season it before y'all start having a hissy fit, because I know y'all will. I've had so many people comment when I do this. I have not ruined my skillet, just so y'all know. And I've made a lot of cheesecakes using this thing. Okay, so you just want water, and you don't want to get it in the cake. You want to pour it beside it. And I usually do it about halfway up. And that's all. We're going to stick it in the oven. And we are going to put it in a 325 degree oven. Make sure your oven is at 325 degrees now. And you're going to carefully do it. All right, so it should be done about an hour and a half. It may be a little sooner, may take a little longer, but I'll be back and let y'all know how long it took. and show you the final product. Look at that cheesecake, y'all. Oh my goodness, it looks wonderful. My dishwasher's running, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have some aluminum foil, and then I'm gonna have to peel off of it. I'm gonna let it cool a few minutes, and I'm gonna take this out of the water bath, dump the water, season my cast iron, and stick it in the oven. And we're gonna let this cool overnight. But first we'll take it out of the aluminum foil and everything, but it's gonna have to cool down a few minutes. Y'all aren't going to believe what just happened. I was putting my phone up here on this phone holder, and it fell right into my cheesecake. And let me show you. See where it hit my cheesecake? Guess it's a good thing I clean my cell phone daily with alcohol wipes, huh? Because they say cell phones are like the dirtiest thing in the world. And it just fell in my cheesecake. And I'm a germaphobe, if y'all didn't know. All right. Let me see if I can turn this a little. That is good. If y'all can't see what I'm doing, because I'm afraid to turn my camera. I'm afraid it's gonna go flying into my cheesecake again. I'm just carefully removing the aluminum foil from around the edges. Getting it out of the oven bag. All right, and I'm gonna set it on top of a fresh piece of aluminum foil. See, and it's good that I put it in that oven bag. Let me show y'all. So the oven bag is dry, but underneath, inside the aluminum foil is wet. But because I put it in the oven bag, that's dry, y'all. But yeah, if I would have just wrapped it in just aluminum foil, it would have been wet. But instead, it just has a cell phone imprint in the top. I'm not going to be taking it out of the pan tonight. I'm going to be sticking this in the fridge, so I'm just going to cover it. And I don't have a plate big enough to set this on. My fridge is small anyway. So I'm just going to wrap it and put some plastic wrap across the top and stick it in the fridge overnight. And then tomorrow we'll remove it from this pan. Okay, y'all, this has been in the fridge a lot longer than 8 hours. We've been going all day. We went to Knoxville to visit my husband's aunt. It's kind of cracked, isn't it? All right, you want to get a knife and go around the edge. I am afraid this is sticking. Anyway, it's been in the fridge. I put it in the fridge about 10 o'clock last night. And what time is it now? 5:30 the next day in the evening. Let's unclasp it and hope it slides off. Y'all know I'm gonna try this. I probably could have cooked it a little longer because it is a little soft, but it may be a soft cheesecake. I cooked it for an hour and a half, but probably could have went a few more minutes. Okay, now you see how the top's got a crack in it? This is where my cell phone fell in it. That is so good. I can't waste this, y'all. We have not had dinner yet. I'm supposed to be in here making dinner. Instead, I'm licking the cheesecake pan. Okay, so if your cheesecake looks like mine, which, okay, to start with, it didn't have this crack in the middle. It just did that after it's been in the fridge. I dropped my cell phone on it when I was videoing. So I'm going to show you how you can fix a cheesecake that looks like this. Okay, so I'm going to make this a chocolate cheesecake. We're going to take these Chalk Zero dark chocolate baking chips. I have about a half a cup. I did about a teaspoon of avocado oil. And I have it on low on the stove. And I'm going to melt the chocolate chips. You can also do it in the microwave if you have a microwave safe dish. I don't have a microwave, so I'm not doing it in the microwave. I'm also going to make some whipped topping. And I'm going to go around the edges, and then I'm going to fill in the center with chocolate. Okay, let me get one video before I cut the cheesecake. So, this is how you hide your mistakes. When you make mistakes, you just add other scrumptious stuff to the top. You see how thick it is?
The initial foodgasm alert. Oh yeah. Yeah, the crust is a bomb. Now we need a cheesecake crumble topping.
Ooh. Have you had the topping with the chocolate yet?
I was working on the crust. That crust is good. Yeah, good call. Having this before the
He can't even talk.
Yeah. This is good.
Your worthy stamp of approval, I take it.
Oh, yeah. The crust is amazing. Yeah, you done good.
Okay. So even though it's kind of softer than my normal cheesecakes, it's still good.
Very good.
Thanks for your review.
Yeah.
There you have it, a low-carb chocolate drizzled cheesecake. This cheesecake can be frozen. I suggest cutting it into individual slices before freezing, and then let it thaw out in the fridge a day before eating. This cheesecake was drool-worthy. I made this at the end of December, a couple of days before the first of the year. I will say that if you're on a keto diet, you do not want to eat things like this often, or it will stall your weight loss. I did not go out of ketosis eating this, but I did not lose any weight that week either. Even if it's sugar-free, low-carb, it can still slow down your weight loss. I know that every person is different, but that's my experience. I will be participating in another collaboration next month. It's hosted by Mountain Grandma, Gale Southern Living, and Life in the Piedmont. So be sure to check it out. It's going to be Healthy Snacks 25 collaboration. I will also be doing a doggy treat video to celebrate Bobbi Jo's birthday in April. And I guess I need to include Nolan too, since his birthday was in January. He turned 7. And I didn't do a doggy video for his birthday. So I guess I will do Bobbi Jo and Nolan. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope y'all have a very blessed week.